Goeiemiddag aan al ons kykers en belangstellendes. Ons is op 'n baie ongewone tyd vandag, eerder is die laaste wat ons nog hierdie program uitgesaai het, maar ek glo jy sal weet dat daar 'n klomp tegniese probleme was. Gister het die veiling baie lank aangehou, so much so that we couldn't finish with the sale, and the Australian clip was postponed till this morning. So we couldn't have a broadcast this morning, and we still at first have a Australian sale. You also see a new face with us. We try a new thing. I know that we try to cater for everybody's needs, and Sandila is well known with a lot of our farmers already because he's one of our technical personnel here down at the warehouse. And he's also our auctioneer, stand-in for Matthew Fox, and doing mostly the adults. And he's also helping me a lot with this program. So I thought it will only be a good thing if he can assist me and to give a little bit of a background of Sandile. He's actually a Zulu from Natal, and he was coming down to Grootfontein Agricultural College, first time exposed to Angora goats, and he fall in love with Angora goat, and he performed very well there, so much so that Hans especially recommended him to me. And Sandile, I think you'll know, about 4 years in with us at the House of Fiber and the old CMW.
Yes, it's been 4 years.
So he's quite knowledgeable already, and he's fluent, and he's told me about 6 languages. He's battling with Afrikaans, but I will do the Afrikaans bit. So, welcome Sandile, and I hope you will enjoy the stint with us. If you can give before we start this whole discussion, if you can give the viewers just a little bit of a background, where you're coming from, what your interests are, how old are you, and so forth.
Good morning, good day rather to all the viewers. As Mpira said, I am Sandile. I come from KwaZulu-Natal, born in Durban, but my rural homestead is in Eshowe. I have been in the Eastern Cape for close to about 7 years, if I include my studying years. I studied at Grootfontein Agricultural College up in Middelburg. I did my 3-year diploma there in agriculture, specializing in small stock production. I had the opportunity there as well to be part of the people privileged enough to assist students in student leadership. I was the president, national president of the SRC of all the agricultural colleges in the country. And then from there onwards, I had the privilege of getting a bursary from Mohair, South Africa, which then landed me at Mohair, South Africa for 6 months as their intern. And then from there on, I went to the old CMW, where I worked there for about a year. And then we moved to the House of Fiber to come and create this wonderful and pristine company.
Thank you, Sandile. I think I'm going to speak a little bit more Afrikaans than usual, and you can give it the abbreviation of a translation on every slide in Xhosa, so that all our viewers can follow. And there is quite a following. I don't think that people realize that there's over 1,000 views of this streaming, and naturally we languages that is just starting to listen. To give you a brief background of this sale, I think everybody waited in big anticipation. What's going to happen after the summer season? The summer season were at record levels, the highest ever. And it was very needed by the industry. Unfortunately, our industry is still hammered by the drought. And and really the biggest portion of our production area is in critical situation. There is farms that hasn't received any rain for the past 7 years, and as anybody can realize, that is really a critical situation. So we are very glad about the new, about the record prices of the last season. But the big question, as we all know, the mower industry, if this is going to continue, is there still demand? And at one stage, I was, just after the last sale, I was also a little bit more negative, but sorry. On the last sale, I could pick up signs that that the winter season is not going to be too bad, because there was good demand for the stronger types, and that's what you want in the winter season. Because I know the farmer doesn't like me to say that the winter season is not the same quality as the summer season. It's mainly the winter season is stronger yet than the summer season. So you get a lower average. It's not that the price came down for a specific micron, it's just a lower average yet in the winter season. You can all imagine is the second shearing kids. There is not really young goats. It is very fine adults that are still going through as young goats, and then the big bulk is young goats. What was very interesting about this season, this particular sale, is usually we compare it to the first winter sale of a year ago. Because to compare, just as I explained now, to compare a winter and a summer season is unfair, because the quality is not the same. But fortunate enough, we can't really compare it with a sale a year ago. The price difference is over 75%, better now than a year ago. And that is saying something. And actually, the market went up with 4% compared to the summer sale. So that is very excellent news for us. That was mainly helped by the exchange rate. The exchange rate you will see later on was the dollar was, US dollar was weaker, or the rand was weaker against the dollar with about 8 to 9%. And that helped immensely. But there is still a demand, and mainly driven by RMS. We are fortunate. We had on the second last sale, we had that interview with Lindsay, and who's working flat out to create business for RMS mower and wool. And the last time I spoke to her, she is very keen, and she said, man, there is still some people that wants RMS mower that haven't received 1 kilo out of the summer season. So don't be worried, the winter season will also be all right. So, and that showed yesterday. Also, unfortunately what happened, because we all, I do realize we're all under pressure from the finance part, that the next sale is quite big, and it's still a problem for us. I think to look after everybody's interest, I must still create a plan there. Last week on Tuesday, the day after the public holiday, we weighed in at HOF Fiber 63,000 kilos. Mense, ek het nog nooit in my lewe 63,000 kilogram in een dag ingeweeg nie. In my vroeër dae by CMB het ek al 50,000 ingeweeg, maar dis so 'n rukkie terug. En dit het ons so 'n bietjie onkant gevang. Met ander woorde, ek kan ons nou nie in die middel van die dag die veiling sluit nie, want daar staan nog 'n paar vragmotors wat vir die oggend af daar staan en wag. So daar het so 'n bietjie meer in haar ingekom as wat ons gedink het. En daar is so 20,000 kilogram meer. En die probleem is, is kontantvloei. 'n Kontantvloei van die kopers af. I think everybody must remember that on the Monday we have quite a big Lesotho sale. The Lesotho sale is just as big as the Cape sale. On this yesterday's Cape sale, in total we offered about 100,000 kilos of Cape between all the brokers. But Azure Fiber BKB offered 124,000 kilograms of Lesotho Mohair on Monday. So it is quite a lot of Mohair, and the next sale we are looking at 170,000 kilos of Cape. So in total, that creates a problem. Yet those two sales must be financed and paid in a week's time. And as I just said, with a price that is in the past year went up with 75%, it creates problems. So, and that has got nothing to do with demand. So, good news and bad news. But that is the news in, well, it was quite a long story, but yet from us before we start the sale, Sandile, I think perhaps you can just take the highlights out of this speech and convey that to our black farmers.
Ngamafutshane ukuthi besithetha ngento yobana isizini lesisuka kuyo egqithile isizini yesama yenze kakuhle gqithi. Ii-prices esizibonile bezingaphaya kokuba kuhle. Sikwazi nolanda i-highest prices o-900 kilo kuyaphezulu, 900 rand a kilo kuyaphezulu. Ibiyinhle gqithi, but ke ayizufana nale sawungena kuyo. As niyazi ke nani into yobana i-winter season inoboya obuthe ukuthi ukuvuleka kancinci kuphinde kube strong kunoboya obuqhelekile besama. Sizawulindela ukuthi i-prices zithi uhlika kancinci. Siphinde sancedwa kule sale esisuka kuyo, sincedwe i-rand elithe laba week ngo-9% xa ujonge kakuhle from i-catalog yokugqibela, eyenza uba ii-prices zikwazi ubamba zibambe kule ndawo bezihleli kuyo, zithi uphakama kancinci. Auction yokugqibela le besibe nayo le besibambe izolo ibe ne-average ka-4% increase, but nakhona ingenxa ye-economy nerandi elithe laba week. But sinethemba ke noko loba ii-prices azizuhlika kakhulu ngenxa yoba i-demand siyayazi uba ikhona. Umnumzana uPierre beke wathetha noLindsay oke wathi i-demand ikhona yabantu abafuna uboya abangakhange bebufumane. So sinethemba loba izinto zizawuhamba kakuhle. Over to you, Pierre.
Thank you, Sandile. If we can move to our first slide, to the lots offered on yesterday's sale, offered 278 lots. We sold 277, so that is 99.7%. I must tell you that one lot that didn't sell was really bad. It was a crossbred, so I still can't move it, but yet hopefully we will move it by the end of the season. Perhaps we can move to the second slide, the price movement indicator. We'll see there kids at with the indicator of 708.23. That is up with a massive 6%. And you'll see later on, I will explain when I come to the microns. A lot of this kids was 28, 29, 27, 28, 29 microns, and that is where the big influence was, and that went up. So that was a big 6%. Now that suits winter kits perfectly, because a winter kit is 27, 28, 29 micron. There was actually a better demand for that than the real fine stuff. Young goods, I see all the other guys are quoting it down, but at Azure Fiber it went well. It went up with 2% at 454 average on the last summer sale. The indicator was at 450, so it went up with 4 rand a kilo there. And then the adults also went up with 2% to 336. There I was especially here the 33 micron yet adults went sold very well, and it showed also on the last summer sale that 32, 33 micron adults are going very well. If we move to the next slide, where we make a comparison year to year, you'll see in the previous year, the average indicator was 229.17, where we stand at 406 at the moment. That's a massive difference of 77%. But that 406 went up with 4% since the last sale. And perhaps the people that are looking at the Azure Fiber report very keenly will pick up that our indicator was on the last summer season a little bit higher. I think it was by 410, 411. The reason why we quote the market still up is that for the first time, our indicator program could use all the information of the past 2 years to calculate the indicator, and that makes it far more accurate. And we tested against most of Africa's indicator. You'll see it is very close to their indicator, so we are satisfied that the whole program, it's a massive program, and that the whole program is working well now. So that's the reason why it's at 406.44, and we quoted up with 4%. Perhaps, Sandile, you can just, because this is an important part, explain to your viewers.
Ngabafutshane bahlali bakuthi apha sithetha nge-year-to-year price apho esiyigeyija khona i-average price ye-auction or ye-market esuke sidila nayo. As nibona ke ukuthi inani langonyaka ogqithileyo of isizini egqithileyo besithengisa nge-average ka-R229.17, and then kule auction esisuka kuyo izolo ekuyiyona ebesikompera nayo sithengise ngo-R406.44. Niyazibonela ke nani uba i-average inyuke gqithi, inyuke ngo-77.35%, and from i-auction yokugqibela inyuke ngo-4%. So iyabonisa uba noko izinto ziya ngokuba zibabhetele ezamasizini etshintsha-tshintshana. Kodwa nakhona ke ezibenditshilo uba sibulela into yoba irand belithe laba weak ngo-9%, okuyiyona elibe ne-influence enhle. I-system yethu ke sisanda uyilungisa ekuthenini ikwazi uworka out i-averages ezi-correct, idibanisa i-information ye-2 years le esesiqalile se-operator ngayo. So sikwazile ke ukutsala le information ukuthi ibe accurate ngolona hlobo sathi sayilinganisa ne-Mohair South Africa okuyi-regulator yethu yakwa-Mohair, nayo safumaniseka into yobana sihleli kwi-page elilodwa siyavisisana kwizinto esizibonisayo phakathi kwethu na. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Sandile. And then we can move to the next slide. We have a price movement in micron groups. First, it will be the RMS prices, but the price movement will be the same. And as I repeatedly, say on every live streaming, but this is the most important part of our discussion. And if you look there at the 24-25 micron group, 818, that's up by 4.7%. 27 micron group, up by 4.5%. And then the big mover, 28-29. But I must include the 27 micron here as well. Up by 9.5%. And people, that is compared to the summer season. Then the 31 micron, up by 3%. And then, as I mentioned, 32, 33 micron adults. There's naturally also a lot of younger selling in this micron group. Also a big mover, up by 5.7%. That's why I said that this slide is so important, because you can pick up trends, and you should have picked it up on the last summer sale already. That gives you an idea of which Mohair is in demand, and that will most likely move on to the next sale. And this is a good example of it. But if you can move to the next slide, you'll see that was the the price movement is exactly the same because we take the average between the two. But if you make a comparison between the prices, you'll see there's huge differences. 2627 micron RMS, for instance, average 775, where a non-RMS 753, over 20 Rand difference. But if you look at the 2829 micron group, the RMS lot averaged 667, while the 2899 micron group of non-RMS averaged just 565. That's over 100 Rand a kilo difference. The 3031 micron, not so a big difference, but there again, the 3233 micron, quite a big difference, 30 Rand a kilo difference. On the 34, 35, 36 micron, also 50 Rand difference, and a little bit less on the stronger stuff, 20 Rand a kilo difference. Interesting enough, in the summer season, we hardly had any 37, 38 microns. Perhaps when I quoted it as 1 bale or 2 bales per sale, suddenly it was quite a lot. So the clip is much stronger than in the summertime. Perhaps, Anili, you can just give a short summary of that to your people.
Uma singajonga amanani lawa bevezwa batakwethu kwi-prices ezihambisana nge-microns, nizawubona into yobana aba-RMS bafumene ii-prices ezibhetele kunaba bangekho RMS. Kunyanzeleke kungakuhle ke if sonke si-aplayela ukuthi sibe RMS certified, into yobana sikwazi ukufumana ii-prices ezintle. Xa ujongile phaa ku-24.5 micron, uyabona into yobana ii-prices zakhona zehluke ngemali engaphezulu kuka-30 Rand xa uzikhomperisha between RMS ne-non-RMS. Naxa ujonga ku-29 and 28 micron, uyabona into yobana iprice yohluke ngemali engaphe kwe-100 Rand ikilogram. So kuhle ke ukuthi sikwazi uzama usebenzisana simithe izistandard ezibekwa i-industry ne-companies esisebenza ngaphansi kwazo, uqinisekisa uba imali yethu siyifumana njengoba injalo for uboya esikutolayo, sihlezi sibhenefitha sonke thina as industry nani njengamafama. So maningasebenza ekuthenini silungise into yokuthi sibe noboya obuhle oburight obungekho strong kakhulu, sikwazi ukufumana ezi prices ezinhle, siphinde sisebenze nako RMS, yonke into yethu ingahamba kakuhle. Thank you, Mbiya.
Soos dankie Sandile. Miskien kan ons net ook noem daar dat ek weet baie mense mis dit aan die bokant van die veilings, die geskrewe groot volledige verslag. Aan die regterkantste hoek bo is die vergelyking heeltyd, want daar baie mense vra vir my, is die RMS regtig so? Daar maak ek 'n presiese vergelyking op elke mikrongroep. Dis die inligting wat jy nou hier voor jou sien, is op elke veilingsverslag bo aan, en ek kom agter dat daar is baie mense wat dit miskyk, en jy het soos kyk maar gerus daarna. En die ander verwarring wat daar kom is dat die persentasie wat daarna staan, is nie die persentasie verskil tussen die twee nie, dis die persentasie wat daai groep op of af beweeg het in vergelyking met die vorige veiling. If we can move to the next slide, the exchange rate. There you'll see the dollar quite a change from 13.56 to 14.82, and the pound 19.49 to 20.44, the euro 16.84 to 17.44, and the Chinese yuan from 2.16 to 14 cents. Quite a major movement. So that's for intersect how it influences the sale. If we move to the next slide, daar sal julle sien dat die dollar was so 9% of die rand was so 9% swakker geweest. Dan die volgende skyfie sal julle die grafiek sien, en daar hoe die dollar en die markaanwyser in dollarterme beweeg en die markaanwyser in randterme beweeg. Julle sal sien daar, omdat die rand so 'n bietjie versleg het, die dollarprys 'n bietjie afgekom van $30 na $27 toe, alhoewel die randprys opgegaan het. Maar dat die dollarprys aansienlik nog hoër is die rand, is 'n goeie teken dat daar goeie aanvraag ding is. If we move to the next slide, then you'll see the top winter kits. You'll see in the winter season we only quote winter kits, winter young goods, and adults. It's not like in the summer season where a lot of fine young goods going through as winter kits, but it's a separate division. Now everything is a winter kit, and the same with adults. In the first place there, Paul Micho from Craddock, and I know Paul is just recovered from a 3-year stint in hospital from COVID. Alles van die beste, Paul, ek hoop jy herstel gou. Pragtige bal. People 26.6 micron, that's a 27 micron bale, super style. It was nearly 90% clean yield at a price of 820 Rand. I know there was also a higher price at CMW for 828 or 829. That was for a summer kit neck, which was 24 micron, very good bale. Yet apparently, so there was one price bid, but this is the second highest. And then, very proud of my binning section. The Azure Fiber binning, and the second place there at 818. Another bin at 808. Then Lood Liter Family Trust from Pearston. Lood geluk, daar was 'n baie mooi bal gewees op by 803. En hier is 'n baie mooi voorbeeld. Lood, ek sê sommer nou vir jou oor die hierdie meneer. Lood is registrasie vir RMS is nog nie deur nie. Ek gaan vir jou sê, het hierdie bal RMS gesertifiseer gewees, sou dit die topprys vir die dag gewees het. Dis 'n baie mooi bal. Dan Dion Grobler van Jansenwil, daar in die 5de plek teen R800. Geluk Dion, is ook 'n 27 mikron bal. Was 'n baie mooi bal gewees. Ek dink R800 is 'n baie goeie prys, baie beter prys as wat jy in die somer sou gehad het. Dan beweeg ons aan na die jongbokke se pryslys. Daar weer eens baie trots op die saalverpakkingsafdeling. Eerste plek daar vir 2829 mikron teen 521. En dan Alinorke, baie hartseer vir die mannetjie. Hy sit op die oomblik in Amerika. Hy studeer verder in Amerika. Alle voorspoed vir jou, Ali. En het wys jou net jou laaste keer sal dit uitstekend gedoen. Then Richard Hobson from Pearston. In the third place there, Peter Mohair from Jansenwil, and all my field officers said, no, he's not from Jansenwil, he's from Kliplaat. I know the Kliplaat people are very serious about this, but Kliplaat is unfortunately not a MD district, but and this man Mr. Nell from state level, there in the fifth place. Then on the adults, I'm going to leave it to Sandile because he's auctioneering all the adults. Sandile, go through the adults. The next slide.
All right. On our first number 1 spot, we have Heki Bank Boerdery from Oudtshoorn, sitting at 431 Rand a kilo. Very fine clip at 31 micron. Followed by the binning section again, which did quite well, following at 417 Rand a kilo, just 1 micron higher than that of the top price. Then we got GG Kemp, who is coming from Cathcart, one of our top producers in terms of quality mohair. He received 3rd spot for 415 Rand, RMS certified, sitting at 32.1 micron. We then move down to Sean Hobson in Graaff-Reinet, who sat at the 5th spot, who received an amount of 415 Rand same amount as GG Kemp, and also same micron sitting at the same RMS status. We then moved down to DC Low in Adelaide. Mr. Low received 390 at 32.8 micron, also RMS certified clip. So it was quite interesting to see how these lovely clips performed. If we move on to the next slide, we then see that we're looking at the buyer statistics. These are basically the percentages of how much each buyer bought with regards to the auction. If we look at the first buyer, Mozenthal's, they bought only 11.4% of the auction. Quite a big sum when you think of it. It does seem like a small number, but it was quite a few bales. So we appreciate that from Mozenthal's. We moved down to New England that bought 0.1, always buying premium, always buying the best quality, never settling for anything less. They always look like they buy the smallest amount, but they always go for the biggest and highest prices. Thank you for your participation there as well, Mr. Ken Reed. Moving down to Semel. Semel took the biggest chunk of the auction at 38.4%. Taking majority of the clip on both our side as House of Fiber, as well as our competitor brokers. We then moved to thank you as well to Samuel for their major role that they played in yesterday's auction. We then moved to Soetvolle that took 8.4%, also looking at premium quality and settling for nothing less than that. We thank you for your participation. We go to Stukken. That was the second highest, very competitive in terms of bidding along with Stukken, with Samuel, trying to make sure that they get as much Mohair as they could. They played a very big role in making sure that the market remained quite high, so we appreciate that, and we thank them for that. When we look down, we've got Konica. I see that I skipped Stukken, sorry about that. We have Konica that bought about 3.3% of the auction. Konica is, I guess you could say, a fairly newcomer, but she's been in the market for an entire season now, so we regard her as just a normal buyer like everyone else. She did fairly well, and she pushed as well to make sure that her footprint is also left within the market in terms of the first catalog going into auction. And then we only had 1% of the auction being fast in, which was then later sold as after sales, and then we had only 0.8% not being sold overall. And when I say overall, it's including CMW and BKB. Thank you, Pierre. You can take it again.
Ja, miskien net 'n bietjie meer perspektief te gee al die kopers 'n deel geneem. Om byvoorbeeld David Nel by Mosenfalls om 11.4% van die mark te koop, boet hy op 30-40% van die veiling B. Hy het natuurlik nou 'n bietjie meer spesifieke lotte gekonsentreer. Hy het gesorg dat die kits redelik opgaan in prys. Jou twee groot verwerkers, Samuel en Stukken is maar altyd ons staatmakers wat sorg wat die groot gros van die skeers verkoop word. Maar as jy Soetvolle en Konica en Mosenfalls by mekaar gaan tel, sal jy sien dat en verken dat jy sien dat die kleiner makelaars, die kleiner kopers is net so groot soos een van die individuele groot kopers, verwerkerkopers. En dit is wat ons wil in gesonde mark dinges wil hê. En ons is baie gelukkig, daar is die moontlikheid wat daar nou nog 7de koper gaan toetree nou die bokkermark. En dit is baie goeie nuus vir ons almal. In die 40 jaar wat ek in die bedryf is, het ons nog nooit 7 kopers gehad nie. So is goeie nuus. Dan het ons net soveel kopers as wat die wolbedryf het, wat jy 'n hele paar keer groter is wat die bokkerbedryf het. So dinge beweeg positief. Ek self is baie opgewonde oor die bemarkingsgoede wat ons op die oomblik mee besig is van Azure Fiber se kant af om seker te maak dat die beter pryse meer konstant in die toekoms in verloop. En ons sal julle nader, want dit is heeltemal 'n lesing op sy eie, Ons sal julle nader in die tyd 'n bietjie meer inlig rondom dit. En maar ek is werklik baie opgewonde hier rondom dit. En ek dink goed is soos grondbewaring en sulke goede wat jy al die jare op die plaas gedoen het en gedink het is verniet. Dit gaan al 'n groter rol begin speel. En ek gaan vir julle sê die mense wat nog nie ge-RBS of ge-RWS is nie, asseblief oorweeg dit baie sterk. Die druk daar buitekant is baie groot dat jou top eindverbruikers hulle onderhandel nie meer nie. Dit is wat hulle wil hê. En die druk gaan daar al hoe meer kom. Ons kyk hoe ons u kan help daar rondom en ons die dinge kan gemaklik maak. Soos hou dit maar in gedagte. Maar die belangrikste van die hele saak natuurlik is op hierdie stadium is daai aanvraag nog nie versadig nie en behoort die aanvraag vir Bokka nog vir 'n geruime tyd goed te wees en die pryse daarmee gepaard gaande. That from my side, I see there's a forecast for rain tomorrow here for the coastal areas. I really sincerely hope that it can spread more to the platteland as well. But we are also in a dire need for rain. We are very keen because our total dam levels moved from 10% to 11%, but we're still in a very critical stage in Port Elizabeth as well, although it's very green. But we know that everybody needs every raindrop from now on. So dat van my kant af en van Sandile se kant af. Voorspoed, ons sien julle oor 3 weke vir die volgende veiling wat lekker groot is. En ek glo ons gaan net sulke goeie nuus dan vir julle hê. Goed, groete van my kant af.
And from my side, kanda zonke i-farmers ezithe zaba ingxenye yale meeting yale report esinayo namhlanje nalapho bathe bathengisa sibamba ngazo zozibini sithi nangomso niphinde nizosupporta nabo abangakafiki sithi izani nizise ubeni uboya sinike inani elinifanele njengamafama sithandazele nemvula siyazi into yobana imbalela ize kakubi kuthina sonke so siyacela ke bantakwethu ukuthi sithi xa sibheka kumdali sibeke nelizwi loba makuhlike imvula kwilizwe lakowethu sikwazi ukukhulisa izilwanyana zethu ngemeko ezilungileyo kwelami icala ndithi maniphinde ndinikhumbuze uba i-auction yethu eyesibini or i-auction elandelayo yawuthengisa nge-7 kaSeptember. Our next catalog will then be auctioned on the 7th of September, and I'll try and say it in Afrikaans. Ons volgende catalog sal aanbied op die 7de van September. I tried. I really tried. I'll do better next time. From my side, thank you very much. God bless.
All right. Good show.